Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, MLS fans. Welcome to Full-Time MLS. My name is Randy, and we are getting prepared for Match Day 1, which is happening in just a couple of days. It's crazy to think that we have gone through this entire offseason already, and it's finally getting close to the beginning of the season. Now, you might notice Christian looks a little bit different this evening. Well, that is not Christian. He unfortunately got caught up, could not make the stream tonight. He will join me probably next week for our Match Day 2 intro. But we are honored to have, an incredible MLS journalist on the show. Favian Renkel joins the show. And man, first off, I said it off air, but what you're doing, you are staying busy with the podcast, brother. You had 4 today, I think I saw. Just kind of tell us about yourself, introduce yourself for people who might not know.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on. This is if I'm not mistaken, 38 on the podcast tour before the MLS season. This is something that I'm doing alongside my new job at Kickbase USA. We are the home of MLS Fantasy now, the new home of MLS Fantasy. So I'm excited to be on this show. I started off as a podcaster when I was a San Jose Earthquakes guy, and this is kind of like a tour that's coming home for me a bit. It's like a little bit of a homecoming to kind of come into this space and do something that I've honestly have never really seen before. I've never seen like a crazy podcast tour like this. And I'm super excited to kind of do that and meet all these new creators. I think this is the first time we've, done this together, and I'm so happy to be here. And my whole thing is a community that's together is always stronger. And at the end of the day, we need to grow MLS together. So this is why I always love to come on shows and do like this tour.
Yeah, man, I just think it's incredible. And I want to make sure, I think we lagged a little bit. Do you have me on your end, brother?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. All right. Well, man, you bring up, I do want to give you a chance to shout this out before we really get into the show, but you brought up Kickbase being the new home for MLS Fantasy. I think this is amazing for the league. I think we needed a refresh in the fantasy department, and we will go ahead and get into some tips later for you guys as well. But yeah, just how did this come to be with MLS Fantasy, this kind of partnership with Kickbase and MLS?
Yeah, well, look, Kickbase is such a big platform. It's the biggest fantasy app in Germany, and they kind of run the show over there for the Bundesliga. And with Kickbase coming now over to the United States, what I'm most excited about, honestly, is the 100 actions that score for MLS games, because I was a big fan of MLS Fantasy before too, but I felt like maybe, I know it's going to be a little kind of contradicting what soccer is, but the scoring wasn't that much, and it kind of felt to me that you either get 3, 6, or 12. So now with the crazy scoring and all the options, or all the actions, you can go ahead and have some scores that may shock you. It gives you more of variability to kind of really choose a roster and really tinker with it and talk some smack, because that's the most important part of playing fantasy with your friends.
That's what Christian and I are super excited for. Like, we've already been talking smack about like the teams that we're putting together. He'll have someone playing in the midfield, and I'll be like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm going to play this person. And he's like, well, that's stupid. So we've already kind of started the smack talk, and I'm sure you're right there along with your friends as well, man.
Yeah, honestly, the biggest thing is the connections that fantasy brings. And I played a lot of fantasy football at my former job, and I'm just excited that Kickbase and MLS Fantasy may eventually be to a point where, workplaces are playing it, friendships are playing it, and it's just going to be a vehicle to kind of grow this league even more. And I think that's like the end goal, right? To kind of make, because every other fantasy for every other sport in the United States is popular. Like people talk about fantasy baseball, fantasy basketball, but the one that's always kind of up in the air is the soccer league, right? And I think this is kind of the step in the right direction with making at least MLS a bit more mainstream and have a little bit more of a backing to kind of bring a casual into the scene.
And I will say, with your connection with them as well, you might be a little biased, but I want to back you up on it. It looks gorgeous. Like, it just having the profile pictures there, I think that was something that I felt like through the MLS app, I felt like it sometimes got put to the wayside and it wasn't a focus. So having an app now that this is the primary focus, is football or soccer, however you guys want to say it, fantasy, is really cool. So yeah, I'm excited. And we're going to get into more of that here in a little bit. We're going to, from the expert over here, we're going to get some fantasy tips, players that you guys should be playing in match week 1. And you guys can also join our podcast fantasy league. The link is in the description below. Let me tell you, it's a little difficult. We only give you 200 mil to fill out a full 11. You really got to think. You can't just pick the stars. So it's definitely for the diehards. But hold on, before we actually get going on the main show here, we do have something that we have to talk about. The man is always popping up out of nowhere. Yes, we had a bogey or a Boj bomb. I say Boj bomb. Some people say bogey. And I have the perfect gentleman to join me to talk about this in a blockbuster move just days before the season. Orlando City has acquired wingback Griffin Dorsey from Houston Dynamo. Trade was worth $100 million in GAM plus add-ons. And then Dorsey has been a reliable starter for Houston for years. And I just got to say, Fabian, this came out of absolute nowhere. When I got the notification, because if you don't have the notifications turned on, what are you doing? Are you even a soccer fan? When I got that notification, it made no sense to me because Houston is a team that Christian and I are so excited for this season. We think they've made some really smart moves, especially. I know some people are torn on Hector Herrera, right? But if he could even get a little bit of what he was in the 2023 season, 2024 season, I believe. I mean, he was such an important part to that midfield structure. So for them to make this move and give away such a very reliable player, I mean, huge get for Orlando City, but it just kind of puzzled me. So I wanted to get your reactions after this news broke.
Yeah, look, for Houston, I think the biggest thing is being flexible. I mean, $1 million plus add-ons in GAM is always welcomed in MLS, nice. especially with this summer transfer window coming up where it's after the World Cup. You know, you want to be as flexible as possible because you know there's going to be a whole bunch of movement of players kind of maybe wanting to make that move over to MLS after the World Cup too. So having GAM to, you know, keep you flexible, I think is always a good move. Now on the Orlando City side, you just lost Freeman, right? You lost Freeman to Villarreal in La Liga, and you had a gaping hole in your right back kind of situation. And honestly, they had gaping holes anyway because their whole defense got a completely different facelift. They got a whole bunch younger, and they had a hole at that position that Freeman played. So you went out and got a guy who's a very good standard MLS guy, who had shown very good flashes 2 years ago as a very viable player. I mean, I think he was a very big reason why they lifted up the US Open Cup that year, and really made a big difference for Houston by becoming a full-time starter with them and really a standard lock. But $1 million in add-ons is a lot of money for a guy who's kind of a standard, you know, player. Maybe there is a little bit more of a ceiling, but I still think you take that money and try to hope that you can go ahead and replace him with a guy up and through the ranks, or maybe a backup, or even maybe get a cheaper guy somewhere else.
Yeah, I love how you put that. I mean, it's certainly no Alex Freeman. In all due respect to Dorsey, he's not Alex Freeman. But I mean, with Orlando, I see what they're going for here. You mentioned the back line, how they kind of had to bring that up. And this is a good signing for them. Like, I don't think Dorsey is someone who's going to come over and make your roster worse, right? So you're taking a gamble to have him in your right back position. You're increasing the starting 11 for you by bringing him in. So I like the gamble. Like 1 million is a good amount of money. It's not chump change, but at the same time, for someone like Dorsey, I don't think you're giving up. You're not, this obviously isn't like a $4 million, $5 million situation. Right. So you're spending a little bit to take a flyer to improve your team ahead of the season. On which side do you think, to kind of wrap up this shocking move that happened, which side do you think was smarter here? Or like, do you like what Houston's doing to free up some, bring in some extra cash, especially with the busy window? Or is it Orlando finding at least a right back, a comparable right back to play in that position?
Yeah, look, I mean, on the Orlando side, Oscar Pereira is really playing for his job. I mean, at the end of the day, if the Orlando kind of falls from the sky and they're in the bottom tier of the teams going, into the halfway point, I can definitely see him being on the hot seat, especially with all the coaches that may be available after the World Cup too. So
Yeah.
it is interesting. This move seems like a desperation move. I mean, they overpaid a little bit for him, but I still would give the win to Houston. I think you get basically 1 million GAM for a guy who is a starter, but he's not like a world beater. And I think you can replace that.
And now, okay, so now we got to get into what everyone is here to watch. This is the MLS Matchday 1 pre-show, and it's crazy, still crazy to me that it's coming up this weekend. So we have to start off in saying, Favian, how excited are you being someone who covers this sport? I know you've got to be like me, and it's got to feel like a kid on Christmas Eve, or, the excitement's got to be there. What are you excited about the most with MLS being back?
Yeah, look, honestly, I don't get to say this every year, but this year I'm really excited because, all right, I'm going to say this, but Kickbase is throwing a party in New York City for the launch with MLS and classic football shirts. So I'm so excited. I mean, I've never had a launch party like that for the MLS season, and it's going to be so cool to see people in the MLS scene and kind of talk all about MLS. Like, at the end of the day, with making a league into a serious thing in the culture and in the soccer world, you have to have these events. And I'm so excited about that. And then I'm also excited to kind of see the biggest MLS season start to date in history, right? I mean, this is going to be in the middle of a World Cup year. I'm excited to see all the new fans come in and really kind of look to find a team in MLS after the World Cup. So I just see a lot of growth in this MLS season. And that's something that I'm most excited for, because it's where we've been teetering with, now we passed baseball in terms of, viewership, and then we have more attendance than hockey. But man, I just want to see like those sheer kind of culture points and numbers of MLS finally kind of hitting that mainstream. I'm a sick person, but I would love to see Stephen A, try to talk about Dorsey, Griffin Dorsey, right? So like, I don't know. I just want to kind of see them struggle a bit and put a smile on my face at the same time.
My invite's still coming in the mail, right?
For that
exactly. New York, no, I instantly got.
Anybody listening to this is welcome to come. I know it's last minute. It's this Friday, but 100% you are more than welcome to come if you're in the New York area.
Seriously, take him up on that offer if you are in that area. I can't imagine the party that you guys are going to be having. So definitely jealous. And I mean, everything you said, ditto. Like, I think this is just, it's the 31st season of the league, something that got me so invested. I obviously love the sport. I grew up playing the sport, but I'm one of those people. MLS is my favorite soccer league in the world, right? It's the soccer league in my backyard. And I have those friends who are like, bro, you got to watch the Prem. You got to watch the Bundesliga. You got to watch La Liga. I get what they're saying. I get the argument. But for me, watching this league grow is something that a lot of people don't get. A lot of the sports, whether you're in football or hockey, baseball, basketball, those sports have been around before you were born. To watch this league grow, to watch the history literally develop in this league is something that you're going to get probably once in a lifetime. How many times are you going to get the opportunity to say, I watched a league begin? And what's really cool is every single season we have better and better talent coming in. And it's so awesome to see. You have, not to spoil anything, but we will get to it later on, you have James Rodriguez coming into Minnesota. Right. I remember when Wilfred Zaha, I know he's not like a Messi level or Son level star, but when he signed for Charlotte, I was shocked. I was like, out of every team, he went to Charlotte. I figured he would be someone to go to an LA team or something. So to continue to have these stars come in, Thomas Mueller went to Vancouver. There's rumors that Robert Lewandowski is going to go to Chicago. So like having all these players come in and not only go to the big markets, but it's starting to expand out to all these cities, watching teams continuously get added to this league. It is so cool. So that's a quick assessment of my excitement this week. And it's just every year that a season starts off, I always have that feeling this is going to be the best year. And it always feels like that.
Yeah, this one for sure though, because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
My favorite move that MLS is doing is they're starting the games during or right after the semi or the same day as the semifinals in the World Cup, because there's gonna be people that want to keep watching soccer because a lot of that post World Cup hangover is real. That's a real thing. So I think it's such a good move by MLS to start up even before the final, and I think
Yes.
you're gonna capture so many people trying to look for that dopamine again, and then maybe they get back to Bouanga scoring hat tricks and then fall in love with the players that we have here. So no, I'm excited.
It's definitely it's going to be fun to watch for sure all year long with the World Cup being here in the States as well. Well, Fabian, I think it's time that we give these fans some fantasy tips heading into match day one. Now, this is a brand new app with Kickbase. I'm sure you guys are scrambling, trying to decide who to pick. Where should I spend my value? It's not easy. I mean, Messi is 62 mil, I think, last I checked. You can't just put Messi in and have a team of stars. So let's go ahead and get to our MLS fantasy predictions. Yes, and reminder, you can join our podcast Kickbase League. The link is in the description below, so make sure to get on that. Now, I was going to give you a goalkeeper. Christian was going to give you a midfielder, and then I'm going to have Favian here, the expert, as I like to say, not to put pressure on you, but I'm going to have him give you a defender and a forward that you got to get in your lineup. So I'll go ahead and start. We're going to go in order here. So I'm going to start with the goalkeeper, and then we'll build our way up. I think I have been on one guy since this partnership was announced. I have changed everything about my lineup except for this man in goal.
Oh, wow.
I think he is a steal at his value, and that is Cisniega for San Diego. We've already seen San Diego in action so far in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They have looked excellent so far. I mean, you could argue the second game they were on their back foot. I would argue they already knew they had the game won. So they were definitely kind of saving some of that energy, the legs, for their game this weekend with Montreal. I think, everyone comes out and says, who's going to win the wooden spoon this year? A lot of people are saying Sporting KC. Some people think DC United can do it again. I think Montreal's in the running. They've made some questionable moves. I think this is a club definitely flat out rebuilding, looking maybe potentially for the 2028 refresh when we switch to the other part of the calendar year. And if you're looking on Kickbase and you're like, I don't know where to save money, Cisniega you can get, I believe, sorry, I made it too small to see from here, but I believe 6 mil. You can get them for compared to some of the other goalkeepers who are going for 12 mil, 14 mil. I think I'm expecting a clean sheet at home, match day one against Montreal. I think that's guaranteed points. Fabian, I don't know if you agree or disagree with Diego.
No, I think it's a great savvy pick, honestly. You're high on San Diego, and that's totally fair. I think it's okay to be bullish on them because of what they did with Pumas too. I mean, they routed a team that is usually an okay team in Liga MX. So no, I think that is a great solid pick. That's a little bit of a sicko pick, so I got to give it to you on that one. That was
a little respect.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Who do you got as a must-play defender for fantasy players this weekend?
Look, you can kind of see from the hair right here that's some nice hair, and that's Max Arfson. I mean, we were looking at the stats from last year, and Max Arfson kind of had this insane season in Kickbase, and I think he's just going to kind of keep that momentum going up until the World Cup because he has to kind of, get that roster spot and he has to get that move to Europe after the World Cup. So what a great way to kind of show off what you have in this beginning of the MLS season. And that's why I'm choosing Max Arfson in my lineup. And he's a Kickbase kind of star, to be honest.
Yeah, I love this pick because when I'm looking at defenders to put in my lineup, I'm always looking at, I want them to have a scoring threat, right? You can't expect defenders every week to put up scoring numbers, but Arfson, he's going to get up on the wing. He's definitely going to be in the attack, and that's exactly what I want. Someone that is getting the ball in for, potential assists. And then a man who can also, we saw it last year. He can put the ball in the back of the net. If I remember correctly, he had like Columbus's goal of the season.
Right.
So I think this is great pick by you, honestly. And I think he is a guy. He's also not overly expensive. So that's a big thing for me is like, where do you put your money? And I think you get good value for Austin as well.
No, I agree. I think this is kind of a trendy pick because again, great kind of placement in terms of budget wise, and then you need kind of a star guy in your back line, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so I got to warn you guys before I give you the midfielder. I did not pick this. This is Christian who picked it, so I'm going to be talking for Christian.
Sure.
But I understand why he made this pick. It's a reliable player every season for the New England Revolution. It's a guy who they lean on every year for goals, and he's a guy who usually finds success in their first game of the season, and that is Carlos Gil. We talked about him on our New England Revolution team preview for 2026. I mean, this guy, he's the captain for a reason. He's going to be taking free kicks for the team. There's potential. Is he the penalty? Is he still the penalty taker? Or is that someone else?
It might be Campana, but I'm not sure if he is. But let me give you this background. He had the second most points for a midfielder that was going into this year in MLS still. So it was Evander above him, and then it was Gil, and right behind him was Ojeda. So I think this is a savvy pick, a guy who's been in the league, has been a former MVP, understands what is needed of him, and maybe you can kind of get a dime here in the early season. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see Gil being lined up in many lineups.
Well, obviously, this is a premier midfielder.
Right.
So I love that you said that and added in that little T, because my question for you was going to be like, my fear with Gil is like, do you put the money to bringing him in? Is he one of those premier players who's worth playing week one? They're facing Nashville. They're on the road. So I guess that's the other part I wanted to ask you about. Do you trust Carlos Gil to still get you the points on the road in Nashville against a team that has shown good defense over the past couple of years, improved this year? Do you still like that based on matchup?
Yeah, look, honestly, I let me tell you this. He is the penalty taker for New England, so that's kind of a plus there. If I'm not mistaken, you can see that in the Kickbase app too.
Yes,
that's a nice little tidbit there. So you got a whole bunch of stats in there. But yeah, I think Gil is that type of player to kind of make sure that you're gonna be a contender in some sense, where you have to worry about him every single time he has the ball. I've actually always said this is a nice candidate for another team to probably, snag away one of the premier players with the cash for, because I think Carlos Gil in another city would kill it. Like we're looking at a team that could really kind of get him around some other stars and then really use him to his best abilities. But yeah, I still like Carlos Gil this season, especially for the beginning.
All right, Fabian, and it is up to you to round us out. I mean, this is a big position. Who should fans be bringing in to fill one of their attacking spots?
I mean, this is kind of the easy one. I think everybody knows Lionel Messi is the GOAT for a reason, or he's at least the Kickbase GOAT. I mean, he scored around 9,834 points last year. Second place was Anders Dreyer, and he scored 6,807 points. So again, a crazy difference. Of course, he is, the most expensive player in the game for a reason. And, there is a worry now that he might not play, but he's pointing towards playing. And I think you got to watch this kind of injury report up until the lock on the season. So that Friday night, you got to hope, shout out to one of the Inter Miami beat reporters that they say something, and they know
Hopefully
something.
that gets out. Well, that was my one. As I was making this graphic, you told me, I asked Fabian to give me these answers so we can get ready for the show. And when you said Messi, I was like, ooh, I don't know, because Christian and I have had so many arguments about this. Yeah. Because at first we were like, we are not spending the money on Messi. There's too many other good players. But then when you do the research, by the way, you can get a Kickbase. What is it? Is it Kickbase Plus? If I remember correctly,
we have a. Well, everybody gets it for the first 2 months, so it's completely free. And then you can get Kickbase Plus, and that's the payment subscription for Kickbase. If you
or
want
you could win it if you do great in the league.
Yeah, exactly. You could definitely win it. There's gonna be players doing raffles too, so definitely follow your favorite players, because who knows. There's definitely ways to win things this year with us. But also, if you don't pay, you still get all these stats, and then you get a chance to kind of look at your screenshot of your live score with a 15 and 30-second ad. So everything's going to be available. If you want to pay for it and have no ads on your app, you can definitely do so as well. But you get predicted lineups, you get some little kind of insights on injury reports and things like that. We have a whole team kind of updating those, so it's not like an automatic update. We go through every single one. So that's kind of the premium feature, and we have recommended lineups and things like that. But I would say don't worry about that yet. Just enjoy the 2 months. I mean, it's going to be a blast, and we're going to have a lot of fun. But yeah, exactly. That's what the premium features are.
Well, that's what made me nervous, is when I was looking at what Messi scored last year. I was like, how do I give up this many points? I mean, one guy has Messi in his lineup. He scored 900 points. Like, I'm already so far down. So would that be your counter argument with putting Messi in or leaving him out?
So this is something that I've learned, and this is a little bit of insider trading right here. This is something I've learned. Messi loves the ball out in LA. I mean, Messi playing in LA in front of all the fans. When I covered him every single time he played in LA, he's a spectacle, man. Like, sometimes he doesn't, really kind of share the limelight with the fans, I think, but in LA, it was like watching a movie star. Every single corner kick, he's waving to every single person. He feeds off the energy in LA. It's like a second home, at least. It's going to be tough with the LAFC faithful, but the last time I saw Messi play in LA versus LAFC, it was the craziest ticket of all time. I mean, I think it was like $300 to $400 just to get in the door. And it felt like a red carpet event. Everybody was dressed to the tens. And man, if you have that type of energy in the stadium for you, I like Messi this week, because anytime he's in a big stadium or at home, I kind of like it. Maybe if he's not in the Pacific Northwest, but anytime he's in a big stadium, he usually likes to make a show of it,
Well, maybe I got to get Messi in my lineup now. I'm going to send Fabian. Fabian's going to get a picture of my lineup after this game, and I'm going to be like, help me, bro. Help me out.
If he wants to play.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. If he ends up playing. Well, these are the 4 people that we think you guys should have in your lineup. Other than that, it's up to you guys. So good luck filling out your lineups this week, and don't forget to join our fantasy league. Link in the description below. Well, next up, Fabian, we do have a lot to talk about as we continue to build up the hype for the 2026 MLS season. And I really like this next thing that we're going to be doing. There were so many amazing signings this offseason, as there always is. I mentioned earlier how the talent pool continues to improve in MLS, and that's really cool to watch. So we're going to play a little game here. MLS, fill in the blank. Blank is the best signing of the offseason. So what do you think? Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Let me go first on this one, because this one is absolutely wild. When I covered the league, when I started to cover the league at least 4 years ago, I never thought this transfer was even remotely possible. And this transfer to me signals that MLS is in a different spot. Now, I know, commissioners aren't the best, at least they don't have the biggest fan groups in the world. Nobody really likes the commissioners. But when Don Garber says that MLS is becoming a league of choice, I truly feel that sentiment with this transfer. I think James Rodriguez going to Minnesota is actually the craziest transfer I've seen, and it's in that echelon of Son and Messi. And I know it's only for 6 months, but the place he went to is so crazy to me, because to me it looks like they shot their shot at someone way out of their league and they landed it. So if I'm a Uruguayan, so I understand the Latino thought. There's really only 5 players in this world that really move the needle for Latinos, and James is one of them. It's Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, and you can even say Mbappe or James, right? And that's and this is that caliber of guy. Like, this is the face of a country. Copa America in the United States, the scenes of the Miami Hard Rock Stadium, of all the fans trying to get in to see Messi versus James, is like insane. I mean, they filled up every single stadium that Colombia played in, and I expect the same for any Minnesota United game. It's just gonna there's so many Colombians here that love the sport and love James that this is such a great opportunity to kind of see their talisman, their star, in a way that they've never been able to before. And Minnesota is going to sell so many jerseys. James is going to be in the top 3 with Son and Messi.
For sure.
And they already sold out home games. They're definitely going to sell out away games too. So it's going to be interesting.
The thing about this is it's funny. All of this comes back to this. I mentioned when Tom Bogert tweeted out about Griffin Dorsey this morning, I was shocked. I don't know if I was as shocked as when I heard about James Rodriguez going to Minnesota. It's that notification that you get, huh?
Yeah.
Like what? Like I hate to make comparisons, but it's like Luka's going to the Lakers? Like what? Yeah. Like James Rodriguez has been rumored for so long about possibly coming to this league. The only like downside to this, and you brought it up, like I get it's a 6-month loan essentially. But you can extend that. I think it's a team extension for the end of the year if it does work out.
I think it's a player.
Is it a player?
Yeah, he can choose. I might be wrong on this, but one of the parties can choose to stay and elongate it, but that has to, work out first. And I think the run up to the World Cup is going to be very crucial for James. And I think this is something where why not take a chance? I mean, you lost St. Clair, you lost Robin Ludd. You have to give your fan base hope. And man, oh man, did you give them some hope?
And if anything, it's going to sell tickets, as you said. Like this is I love this move. And it's great for James Rodriguez. He comes over, he gets the conditioning before the World Cup to prepare for that. So I couldn't agree more. I remember when this move went down, I was sitting on my couch and I was like, I called my bro instantly and I was like, did you see this? And he's like, yeah, like what? And I was like, yeah, like it makes no sense, but it's a match made in heaven. And I love the comparison you made to you didn't necessarily say a guy, but it's a guy shooting a shot at this like gorgeous girl. And then she's actually like, sure, why not? And that's James Rodriguez is like I don't see why not.
We have the discovery rights. Let's just shoot a DM, let's just try, let's just say some crazy stuff. He might love it,
Yeah. And then that picture was so cold of him flying over and he was, can't remember exactly what he said with it, but he's
here we go. He said, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. And it was perfect. So how do I compete with that? So I'm going to give Christian's first because I want to hold mine for the end.
Yeah.
Christian's was Facundo Torres to Austin FC. Now, I'm interested to hear what side you're on, Fabian. Christian and I disagree here. He is on the side of Austin FC. This is an impressive move for them. He thinks they are going to improve this year in the Western Conference, do better than they did last year. I'm on the side. I'm still undecided about Austin. I don't really know if they still have enough or if Facundo Torres moves the needle to them really competing in a loaded Western Conference this year. So I'm going to let you talk about this because Christian, if you want to hear Christian talk about it, go check out our Austin FC preview on our page. But what do you make of Facundo Torres coming back? We obviously last saw him in Orlando, left for a season. I believe it was one season, and now he's back in MLS with Austin FC.
Yeah, look, Facundo Torres at his peak in MLS was an MLS MVP nominee, but he was never able to kind of put that together in a full season. There was flashes of him kind of starting to get really good and find his groove in MLS. And everybody thought when Facundo was going to come to MLS, he was going to springboard to Europe. And then when he went to Brazil, Palmeiras is, if not the biggest or one of the biggest clubs in the whole Americas. I think, it didn't really go in a certain way that he wanted to at Palmeiras, but he's coming back into MLS with Austin FC. He should be playing at a higher level than what he left at. And I honestly love this move. And this would have been my pick if it wasn't for the craziness of James Rodriguez, because one, you change Bucati, who was a failure in Austin. He was saucy and fun, but he was a failure ultimately. You get some good money for him back, and then you turn around and turn that into a possibly an MVP nominee. I mean, man, I love this move all around because you don't want to go too astray with Austin FC because you already did that with Bucati. You want to go with something that's a little more low risk. And I think this is a perfect low risk move because you're getting something that could be very, very fruitful, and it has a very high kind of probability of being very fruitful. And again, Facundo's also fighting for a Uruguay spot in the World Cup. This is a player who needs to play well. He needs to make that next step in his career, and is relatively young and couldn't make another step again, So I think motivation's there, the talent's there, and the situation in Austin, I think, is a great one too.
I mean, I obviously am pulling for Facundo. I would love to see
Yeah.
him. He was a player when I tuned into Orlando City games. I tuned in because Facundo Torres is a fun player to watch.
Yeah.
Some of the magic he can make on the field is really interesting in that midfield. So again, I said it in the team preview. This is a team that struggled for goals last season, even with all their attacking pieces. So they're bringing in another contributor who can get the ball into Brandon Vasquez. And we mentioned it, Brandon Vasquez is a guy who I think sometimes you can question his finishing ability. And I think he relied heavy on, Christian was the one who said this, Lucho Acosta at FC Cincinnati. So it'll be interesting if Facundo can come out and kind of be that Luciano Acosta connection for Brandon Vasquez, because a player who you got 19 games out of, only scored 5 goals, you need more from that. And you need more from the attack overall. So I'm excited to see how Facundo Torres pans out. Look, I mean, your pick was great. Christian's pick was great. I personally feel like mine's the right answer. Maybe I'm a little biased, but come on. It's Christian Espinoza to Nashville. Yeah. I mean, I think there are some deadly trios in this league, but I don't know of many better ones than Honey Mukhtar, Christian Espinoza, and Sam Surridge. I am so convincing you, and you're adding this to a Nashville team who just had their best season in MLS, winning U.S. Open Cup. They're actually playing, as we're recording, they're playing right now in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I saw their lineup is really watered down tonight. So I think they're prioritizing this season ahead. But this is a team who had great defense already. They had a great attack already. They had an MVP finalist. And they get Christian Espinoza on a free transfer. Just masterful, work from Nashville SC. And I'm so excited to watch them play this year. They're actually, we'll get to it in one of the questions we have coming up as we talk about last season's champions. But I think they're a real contender this season. I think, there's only a few teams who really could end up lifting the MLS Cup this season. And yes, it's a league where there's so much uncertainty and there's so many surprises. You can never quite tell, but I think this is going to be a contender this year. I don't know if you agree with me, Favian, but I think Christian Espinoza and Nashville SC won the offseason.
Yeah, look, this is a great transfer. I mean, it's a free transfer for one. You didn't pay a single thing besides his salary.
Yeah.
The Earthquakes really fumbled the bag on Christian. He's a club legend for the team. He has the most assists in their history. And this one hurts for Quakes fans because this is, again, someone that they thought would help them get to the promised land. But at the same time, there's a lot of people in San Jose who are excited for Espinoza. He finally gets a chance at really kind of giving it a full go at really trying to win an MLS Cup or a Supporters Shield. So I think that is definitely in the cards under BJ Callahan. I think this team is playing at a phenomenal kind of rate. And I think now with this move, they're definitely a contender. I agree with you.
All right. Well, now to keep things going, I know we have about like an hour here total. So I want to go ahead and move on to our next thing, which is we got to talk about what the biggest question mark ahead of this season is. We've talked about some of the stars, some of the biggest signings, and now ahead of the first kickoff this weekend, what's a question mark that you still have? I'll go ahead and give Christian's first because ours, Fabian, kind of goes together. So Let me bring his up here. His biggest question mark, we've talked about it a little bit. How will teams navigate the extended summer transfer window? You have the World Cup this year. You have so many rumored names, rumored stars who could be dipping a toe into MLS to get in front of their international managers to show that they deserve a spot on the roster. This could be a huge year. You even brought it up earlier about like some of the signings who could be coming in. I think there are some MLS teams who are holding DP slots for the summer in hopes to sign or entice a big star to their team. So it'll definitely be interesting, but Christian keeps bringing up that that's the biggest question mark he has ahead of this season. Fabian, anything to add on about, potential signings and what we could see with this extended summer transfer window?
Yeah, look, a lot of people forget that with the World Cup coming here, this is the biggest showcase for every single team that is in MLS to kind of prove to every single player that's going to be here for the World Cup that they have the best facilities, that they have a fan base that's very passionate, that MLS is a place where they have every single thing to entice a player to come want to play here. I mean, one, the infrastructure is there. Two, the paycheck will come every week. Three, it has ambition to be one of the best leagues in the world. And then four, now the international breaks are going to be perfectly lined up with the calendar. So no, again, expect every single team that has a player come through their training facilities and everything that they have to get exposed to MLS. And that's why you see teams really trying to get as much kind of flexibility going into this offseason. Take a look at LAFC, right? They, instead of going after Espinoza, maybe signing him to a DP salary, you leave that spot open for something that can possibly happen in the summer. And it's so much fun to kind of think about. We could see the likes of De Bruyne in the league, Lewandowski in Chicago,
potentially eventually.
Exactly. Like everybody should be in the Griezmann sweepstakes.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's going to be a fun time.
Mo Salah I'm a Liverpool fan, has been rumored to San Diego.
Yeah, that one's a crazy link. Yeah, that one's like you don't expect it. Yeah.
Couldn't imagine. I do have to ask before we get off the rumored names. Are you putting any stake on Ronaldo to MLS, or are you saying, no, this is hogwash, not going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it would be very shocking. I'm not going to lie to you. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening.
The same way.
I think it would be nice, but I think the ship has sailed on Ronaldo, honestly.
Not if he's not on Inter Miami, it won't be nice. That's the rumor that I absolutely hate hearing. All right. So what's your biggest question mark, Fabian, entering the 2026 season?
No, honestly, I'm going to go last on this one. I want you to go. Because we'll go the other way around.
Okay. I got you. So mine is about Christian's favorite team. I thought he was going to be here for me to poke fun with. I talked about Nashville being a real contender this year. My biggest question mark, we haven't really talked about them on this entire pre-show, and they're contenders every year. And that is, can FC Cincinnati compete with Miami and get over the hump, right? This is a team year in and year out, they're looked at as having one of the best, I think, most fulfilled rosters in the league. Sure, they don't have like the star power of a Son, although you can say Evander, seasonal MVP candidate, controlling that midfield. They've got a good back line. They've got a good goalkeeper. Denke was on fire last year scoring goals. They've got a great coach. They've got everything they need. And for FC Cincinnati, right, this is a team that we saw them at the lowest of their lows, and it's only been a steady climb since then. And they won Supporter Shield. Correct me if I'm wrong in that, right? A few seasons back. Yes, did they win it? Yes, I thought they did. So they were able to win, first trophy, being an MLS franchise. But each and every year we talk about how they're contenders for MLS Cup, and each and every year they get bounced in the postseason. This year it was to the eventual champions, Inter Miami. It was a slaughter fest. I keep poking fun at Christian about that. But that's my biggest question. I know it's such a weird and niche one, but I think FC Cincinnati, it's like, look, obviously Inter Miami heading into the season is seen as everyone's favorites. And then you have it's Inter Miami, it's LAFC, and then a couple knocks down. You have Nashville, San Diego. Where does Cincinnati fall in this? Because you have the two clear favorites, and that's what and if you're FC Cincinnati, right, you got this huge offer for Kevin Denke. You turned it down as far as we know. So you have faith that, this is a place we want to keep him. We want to build his value some more. What's next? Can you get over that hump? I don't know if you have anything to add on to that.
Yeah, look, the stance that FC Cincinnati's taken this year is basically it's win or bust. The way that they didn't sell Evander and Denke just proved to me that these guys are in it this season. They want some sort of silverware. The window is not closed yet, but who knows? They might be in another rebuild if crazy offers come in for their stars. We could definitely see that happening in the summer transfer window, or even in the next, winter transfer window. So the time is now for FC Cincinnati, and can they get over that hump, or can they win a secondary trophy even, get something else? And I think it's very possible, because you do have some of the best stars in the league too.
Do you want to go ahead and build off mine? You can see now how ours was connected. I didn't want to spoil yours at all. But You were so nice letting me go first.
Yeah. Well, it goes hand in hand. Honestly, can anybody keep up with Inter Miami this season? And that's something to like really think about. Inter Miami is building a super team. They've honestly probably built the first MLS super team. A lot of people kind of look at the LA Galaxy back in the day with Donovan Beckham and Robbie Keane, but this is a different level. This is Inter Miami having one of, if not the best goalkeeper, having a great new addition in Mikhail in the back line, going and getting Ayala, and then having Messi, and then also Betarame, one of the best proven goal scorers in CONCACAF, and then obviously DePaul and Tadeo Allende, and I can go for days, right? So
I hate it, but I love it so much. That's the tough thing. I hate it because this seems like MLS is such a league of, it's so competitive and you never know who's going to win. I feel like this is the first season since I've watched. I got into it around 2017, 2018. This is the first season I've watched. There's a clear favorite. And so I love that you bring this up because I'm like, I hate it because I don't know how they do it within the rules, but I'm not getting into that. That's not my job. But they've somehow managed to do it. You can't blame them for going out and spending money. That's what you're supposed to do as a team. And you hope to see that from other teams around the league. But at the same time, while I hate it, I love it because of these stars coming to the league. And it's such a draw to see, like, obviously Busquets retired, Jordi Alba retired, but just to have those three Barcelona boys, you throw in Luis Suarez as well. The eyes it brings to the league is awesome. So I don't know how to feel about it, Fabian, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, look, while we're on the topic of how they did it, just remember Florida has a pretty good tax kind of law. I mean,
that's why you're here. That's why I have.
and you have to think about it too. A lot of these guys are taking sweetheart deals to play with the best of all time, Lionel Messi. So it's very similar to what happens in all other sports. I mean, you take a look at the Dodgers, you take a look at the Patriots with Tom Brady, Ohtani with the Dodgers, and you really notice that, okay, if you're on to something and if you're creating a winning culture, of course, with the best player in the world, people are going to want to come for cheap, right? And no, I think but they are using it to their benefit in my eyes. Like they're finally kind of truly manipulating these rosters or this roster to kind of get the most out of it. I mean, to me, this looks like you're kind of squeezing a lemon and getting the little last juice that's left, and you're actually making it fit in your lemonade cup because you're just a savage. You want every single ounce of that lemon. So I think, no, 100%. I think Inter Miami is going to be the team to beat this year. Maybe not the Supporter Shield winner. But
that was going to be I have two quick questions for you. Question number one, if anyone can compete, who can, and how many teams do you think it is?
Yeah, look, I think LAFC is the obvious favorite on the West Coast, or actually the Western Conference. And then Vancouver is another team that's always going to be, their window's closing, so they need to do something this year to get over the hump, because they're going to either lose Blackman, Berhalter, or Brian White, and they need to do it now. Another team that I think is going to compete with them, you talked about them earlier, is Nashville. I think Nashville may sneakily, lead the points, at the end of the season, because usually the Supporter Shield isn't the best team. It's the team that kind of runs away with the points, and no other team can kind of catch them. And maybe the other teams have other priorities as well.
And then the second part of that question was, how many trophies can Inter Miami win this year? You think they can go out, win CONCACAF Champions Cup, Supporter Shield, kind of do everything?
I think they need to win two. I think having two trophies is a successful season for Miami. One of them has to be CONCACAF, though. There's no way you assemble this team. Jorge Mas coming out on Twitter and saying the things he said about this team wanting a CONCACAF Champions Cup. They want to join that echelon of MLS teams that have won it. The LA Galaxy, Seattle Sounders. So they definitely want to make history, and you might as well make history now while you have the best player or one of the best players to ever play the game.
I think the only thing that can kind of hold Inter Miami back this year is, we mentioned it earlier during fantasy, how much does Messi play with it being a World Cup year? I think that's the only thing that's kind of scaring me.
What's really good about that is they re-signed Suarez. And I know a lot of people have their opinions about Suarez, but Suarez can definitely fill in a kind of role when Messi's not there. and he could kind of fill in that creator role for this team and not have to press or not have to do too much defensively. And then you kind of don't skip a beat. You saw this happen with Leagues Cup when Messi was hurt right after Copa America. They had a great run of games when Messi wasn't playing. I think they won 5 games in a row during that time, and Suarez kind of just filled in for Messi, and Messi was able to get some well-needed rest. So that re-signing is actually, I think, huge for Miami in this season because of the World Cup year.
Yeah, well said. It's going to be a great season for Inter Miami. The vibes at that club are going to be immaculate. You have the opening of Freedom Park, which
Miami Freedom Park,
is going to be, I have been looking forward to this for 4 seasons now. I can't imagine what it's going to be like to be there opening day. You got a little taste. You got to go to the MLS Cup final last year, if I saw correctly. That had to be incredible.
No, yeah, it was a great experience. We got to see Messi kind of lift the cup, but honestly, it felt a bit like clockwork, man. The guy has, I mean, it just felt like, to me, it was a great experience, but it didn't really feel like an MLS Cup. I mean, like it almost felt like like everybody was expecting this, like everybody in the, usually you would see like the employees go crazy of the team, but it was kind of like, dude, I work for Inter Miami. This is like,
we knew this was happening. Messi played it.
Yeah, it was going to happen, so it was kind of funny kind of thinking about all that.
Well, Fabian, let's go ahead and preview all the games. We got a lot of games to get through here. Let's go ahead and go around the league. So many games happening this weekend, so little time. We are going to cover all of them. And Fabian actually has some responsibility here because Christian and I this season, if you tune into our pre-show each and every week, we're going to be doing a little friendly competition. We'll keep you guys updated on the scores. So we are going to make predictions for every single MLS game this season. And basically we're going to pick what we think the score is going to be. For instance, this first game, if I say St. Louis is going to win 2-0, if it ends up 2-0, St. Louis wins, I get 3 points. We're going table style. If St. Louis wins, but the score prediction is not correct, I get 1 point. And if Charlotte ended up winning, I get 0 points. So there's a lot to play for here. Christian has agreed because he couldn't be here today. Fabian is going to fill in for him and make these score predictions. Look, I didn't prepare beforehand. I know Fabian probably didn't prepare beforehand. We're going to run through these quick comments, and we got so many to get through. So this opening day game, it's a huge one. St. Louis hosting Charlotte FC. Christian and I are going to be there in St. Louis. We are so excited. Yeah, we're very excited. We're going to be vlogging the journey for you guys as well. So that video will come up. We're going to get the full game day experience. Christian has a friend who's going to give us all the best supporter spots to go to before the game. So we are very excited. We will see you guys in St. Louis on Saturday. So Fabian, I'll start with you. I'll go back later and watch it. So don't worry about notes or anything. Where are you going in this game?
Look, I like St. Louis's additions on their defense, but I think Charlotte's just a better team, even away from home. I would say 2-0 Charlotte.
It's so weird to pick opening day because there's so many weird lineups that can be played out. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Charlotte's going to end up winning this game. I hate to copy you right off the bat, but I already had that in my head as well. I'm going 2-0 Charlotte. 2-0 Charlotte. All right, next up. 4:45 kickoff time. FC Cincinnati hosting Atlanta United. I'll go first on this one, give you a second. Look, FC Cincinnati, I have been to so many home openers. They always allow a goal in their home opener, but they always manage to win it. So I'm going to be going 2-1 FC Cincinnati in this game. I do think Atlanta will get a goal somehow.
Yeah, I think this Atlanta United has a back line that they need to kind of gel with. I agree with you. I think Cincinnati is going to win, but I think the goals are going to be a little more. I think it's going to be about 3-1 Cincinnati.
3-1. All right. Next up, we are going to DC, Audi Field, DC United hosting Philadelphia Union. Fabian, it's your turn. Take us away on this one.
DC's back. They're going to shock the world. I think they win 1-0 at home.
That would be an awesome. Audi Field would be lit. I don't know, something about this game. This is such a boring answer. This game is giving 0-0 draw. So that's my prediction. My first draw prediction. I think DC, I don't really know what to expect from them this year. I think people are really low. I just saw the MLS rankings earlier. They had them as wooden spoon candidates. I don't know. I think Mutiano can come in and provide some goals. I kind of like the moves they made, bringing in Baribo. Sean Johnson should solidify the back a little bit. And Philadelphia is a team that I have a lot of question marks about. I don't know if they did enough. And this is just screaming 0-0. So continuing on here, let's go Orlando City and New York Red Bulls. Look, this is another game that could be a draw, but I'm not saying 0-0. I know I shouldn't say draw because it's going to be so hard to score off of draws. But I'm going to go, I'm going 1-1 draw here in Orlando.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I would say it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be 2-2 draw.
Draw. Yeah, it's another game screaming draw here. We've got the reigning Western Conference champions, Vancouver FC, hosting the RSL Bros' favorite team. I bring them up. We friends of the podcast at BC Place. Favian, where are you going in this one?
Look, Vancouver is a powerhouse. It's at home. This means a lot more to them than RSL with the whole stadium situation. They're going to ball out. It's going to be 2-0 Vancouver.
2-0. Woo! I thought you were going to copy me again. I'm going 3-0 Vancouver. RSL, I'm not too high. Don't tell the RSL Bros. I'm so sorry. I'm higher on them than I was after our podcast with them, but I'm not that high on them. I think Vancouver's going to come out firing on all cylinders in their home opener. All right. Now we have Austin FC hosting Minnesota United. James Rodriguez hopefully making his debut this weekend. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go, it's a weird score, but I think I'm going to go 3-1 Minnesota to come in and beat Austin at home. I think Austin is still dealing with some injuries that they're not going to have back in time. So I think it's going to, if I'm not too, Brandon Vasquez won't be back, will he?
Not until the first game at Miami Freedom Park.
Yeah, so that's what there's a few question marks I have with that lineup. I think Minnesota's ready to go. I think people are sleeping on this team. I'm going 3-1 Minnesota.
I'm gonna go against you. I think it's gonna be 1-0 Austin FC. They find a way. Their stadium is awesome. Their fans are awesome. It's gonna be rocking. I'm gonna take the home team on this one.
All right. Next up, we got Dallas hosting Toronto FC. I think it's your turn to go first. Good luck picking on this game because I don't know where to
screams, go. Like 2-1.
This is a sicko
Dallas.
game.
Yeah. This. If you're watching this, man, power to you.
Yeah. So you're going 2-1. I'm so sorry for the delay. This is a tough one. I'm going to go 2-2 draw in this one as well. Something about this game is screaming that it's going to be a deadlock, and I think it's going to be a late goal from FC Dallas. All right. Houston is hosting Chicago Fire. These are two teams I'm very excited to watch play this year. Chicago can get in some shootouts where Houston, I think, is a team that kind of wants to play a more balanced game overall. And I'm leaning, you know what? I have faith that Chicago's going to be able to go in. I have faith this is going to be a big season for Chicago under Berhalter. Let's go 2-1 Chicago in this one.
Yeah, I think Chicago's going to win this one. I'm going to go 3-2 Chicago.
3-2? All right. Next up, Nashville SC and New England Revolution. Where are you going with this one, brother?
Nashville 3-0. Easy. Done.
I'm going Nashville 2-0. I don't think they get to 3, but I think they could. And then we have the big game Saturday night, the first Walmart Saturday showdown of the MLS season. Fabian, this is one everyone's excited for. I want to say it's going to be a shootout, and I hope it's a shootout. Is Messi going to play? Is he not? I'm going to go, and it's backwards. It is LAFC. It's in LA. I think LAFC gets the upset. I really do. I'm going to go LAFC 2-1 in this game.
I'm saying 3-3 draw.
Oh, I hope
it's going to be a high scoring game. Everyone's watching this game. LA is going to stop for it. I think this is going to be a showdown of greats.
And then we move along to our last games on Saturday. San Diego FC hosting Montreal. We mentioned it earlier. Two teams, different trajectories. Where are you going, Fabian?
4-0 San Diego.
I want to agree with you so bad. I'm going to go 3-0 San Diego. Moving on to San Jose hosting SKC. Who knows what we're getting?
1-1.
1-1 overall. Hopefully Timo Werner. Is Timo Werner going to be ready to go?
Nope. So
no Timo Werner. All right. I'm going to go 1-0 to San Jose. I think they get the win at home. Go ahead, Fabian. Portland at Columbus.
Yeah, Columbus is going to win this one. I'm going to say 3-1 at Providence Park.
I actually think it's going to be a 2-1 draw for Portland. I really like Portland at home. Or sorry, 2-1 win for Portland. I love Providence Park, especially for the home opener. So I'm expecting them to pull off the upset here. My team, LA Galaxy, are looking for a bounce back year hosting NYCFC. Hack against his former team. I think I'm going to go with my Galaxy boys. I think they come out. They have something to prove this year. New York City FC is trying to figure some things out. I'm going to go 2-1. 2-0 Galaxy.
I'm going to go 1-0 Galaxy. I think this is going to be a good result for them, and they're going to have some hope.
And then the final game. Thank you for sticking with us as we get through all this busy weekend schedule. Seattle's going to close us out, hosting Colorado. Fabian, where are you going with this one?
I am going with, let me see here. Excuse me. Seattle 2-0 win. Easy.
I expect Jordan Morris is my captain in my fantasy team to give you a little last minute advice, just because I think he always balls out on opening day. And I think this is going to be a 3-0 win for Seattle at home. Well, that does it. I'm going to have to let Fabian go. I know he's ready to jump on another podcast, but I will say, Fabian, thank you so much for joining me. You always are invited to come back. Really appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me on. Make sure you download Kickbase before the MLS season and have some fun. Take care, guys.